Like, where's a better situation than he's at right now? Like, again, I hear Giants up here all the time. Why the hell would Matthew Stafford want to come to the New York Giants? Why? I wouldn't.
If they pay him.
I guess.
I think if you're looking for one big final bag before you retire, you're not worried about winning.
I guess not.
That's
but
fine.
that's to
That's
me what's
his right.
crazy. You're right. It's
He's got
his
his Super
right.
Bowl.
It's his
He's
right.
got his Super Bowl.
Right.
And if he wants to chase the biggest bag possible on his way out the door, then more power to him.
I guess that's where I'm amazed. That's where I would go if I was Matthew Stafford asked me. I'd go, wait, man, I mean, you're one of the richest people in the history of the NFL. You want to go to New York and get your ass beat and hear from the New York media about how crappy you are and get crushed behind an offensive line that we don't know about, running backs that are okay, and, we have Malik Neighbors, and that's about it? Like, that's what you want to do for the extra, $10 million per year for 2 years? That's where it just doesn't make sense to me when you say it out loud. And, again, I'm not going to judge anybody's money, but we both know he's made huge money, as much as anybody ever, and I just go, well, you're going to throw away, what you could do with the Rams and win another Super Bowl and close that gap that you might not make financially, with the New York Giants if you sign there. You'll close that gap if you win the Super Bowl again. You'll be able to do whatever you want. Oh, you want me to do this commercial? Pay me $10 million. Okay, boom. You want me to do this commercial? Pay me $10 million. Okay, boom. So there's that gap closed up between the Giants and the Rams. Why would you want to give that away? That's where I'm just a little bit amazed that we're at this situation between two top-tier entities in the NFL right now.
A wise man once said, go where you are celebrated, not tolerated. And it feels like for the past couple of years, the Rams have merely tolerated, not celebrated Matthew Stafford. And that will wear on any human being. At some point, you're going to say, you know what? I kind of feel like you're just kind of keeping me around because you got no better option. You're afraid of what happens if I'm not going to be here.
But you feel
really
like
don't
that?
Celebrate me.
Do you feel
I feel like he's not celebrated by the Rams. I feel like he's not celebrated by the Rams. I feel like he's tolerated by the Rams. I feel like they've been looking for an off-ramp for Matthew Stafford. That they're not, this is our guy no matter what. This is our guy no matter what. Matthew Stafford's going to be here as long as possible. A question comes up about trading him at a press conference. Les Snead doesn't say, what the hell are you talking about? Would you ask Andy Reid about Patrick Mahomes being traded? Are you serious? They need to revoke your credentials. No. He says, well, it takes someone to call us up and be interested before we can have trade talks. That's what he said. The last time Les Snead spoke to reporters after the season ended.
I hear you
they
there.
They put the for sale sign on Matthew Stafford. They have made it known they are in the let's trade Matthew Stafford business. And, Chris, I do want to say one thing. I got a couple of points to make, but I do have one very important thing to say. I would like you to go back to Chris Simms pre-trade deadline and tell him, leave Florio alone about wanting to trade for Matthew Stafford, because you just made my case. And you would not leave me alone about nudging Sam Darnold to the side and say, sorry, Sam, we love you, but you're not Matthew Stafford. This is Matthew Stafford, and we were able to get him at a time when the Rams, who've been trying to get rid of him, and the planets lined up just right, and I was pushing it, and I was right, and you're right now.
You don't know if you were right. You don't know if you're right. He could have gone there, and he'd have to get used to things, and they would have lost a few games, and it might not have worked. You don't know that.
It would have been fine.
But he is a better player than Sam Darnold.
I do tell you this.
Right.
He would not have been launching helium balloons in Detroit Week 18. He would not have been doing that.
I hear you there. There's definitely, you're going to trust him in big game football more than you will Sam Darnold. Listen, I'm not going to make that comparison. Matthew Stafford is an all-time great to me, right? Sam Darnold just had one real good year, so I'm certainly not going to put him in that class yet. But like what I'm just interested here too is just, I know they've given Matthew Stafford the right to look at other teams. Who out there is going to really, do you look at a team to go, I mean,
I'm kidding.
I know,
but
kidding,
you're not.
but
it's kind of a wistful,
right?
You could do a lot worse. I mean, if the choice is between keeping Darnold or trading for Stafford, I say trade for Stafford. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But we just don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to do. That's
right.
That's the door number 2 that they haven't opened yet.
Yeah.
But
all right,
yeah,
but
I mean, the problem is if he wants 50, who's going to give him 50 though? That's the thing. Would the Giants give him 50? Who's going to cough up 50 and give the Rams what they would want in trade? Because the more you're willing to pay the guy, the more he's worth in trade.
Yeah, no, I do. I do think people will give him 50. I think a team like the Giants would. They're that desperate. They need something to turn around. But again, I go into that to the teams that will definitely give him money with what he wants. I just go, wait, are they going to be good enough to give him what he wants? And that's where I don't know. Right. And I saw, you saw, hey, Matthew Stafford to the Giants and Aaron Rodgers. I saw your article you wrote. Hey, maybe he goes to the Rams. I want to say to that, well, that puts the Rams back in the same boat again, too.
I know.
Let alone, I know, I'm not trying to attack you. Let alone,
I said it last week while you were on the beach.
Yeah.
Why in the hell would the Rams want Aaron Rodgers? Why would the Rams I can understand why Rodgers would want the Rams.
Yes.
Why in the hell would the Rams want Aaron Rodgers?
Exactly. I mean, he's going to still want to convey his or put his offense and have control, and that's not the way McVay and Stafford work. McVay will listen to you, but you're going to run McVay's offense. Oh, you got a good idea? Cool. But that's where him and Stafford, I think, mesh perfectly. Rodgers is going to be like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And then every now and then I'll do something you want to do. And that where I don't see that working. So, again, it seems like a face-off right now about whether it's guaranteed money, big money, whatever it may be. But I'm shocked, like I said, in the fact that it's Matt Stafford, who's an awesome football player, and he's a part of the Rams, which are a Super Bowl big-time football team, and here they are trying to trade him or let him go out there and flirt with other teams to see what's out there.
Here's the danger of the Rams letting his agent talk to other teams, because the information that might come back to Stafford could go like this. Here's what they'll pay you if they have to give the Rams X. Here's what they would pay you if they could get you without having to give the Rams anything.
Right.
I mean, there's a chance that this ends with Matthew Stafford going to McVay, Snead, Kevin Demoff, and saying, hey, I've delivered you a Super Bowl win. I've been a good soldier. I've done everything you've asked me to do. You guys have been looking to move on from me for a couple of years now. Why don't you just release me with a post-June 1 designation? You can chop the cap hit in half, 22 and change this year, 22 and change next year, and we move on. I don't know. I mean, why would you do that? But it's like, if you want to move on from me, just move on from me. Don't play this game where you value me so much that you want X, Y, and Z in trade, and that's going to affect what I can make.
Yeah.
You want me to go out and make as much as I can. You're hampering me from making as much as I can by insisting on some sort of trade compensation. Now, again, it's still a business, and one of the reasons we're in this spot with Stafford and the Rams is because it is a business. But I could see at some point the light bulb going off for Matthew Stafford of like, hey, I think I've earned the right to be released, even if the Rams would never do it. I could see him thinking, I wish they would just release me.
I could too. I hear you in at least his thought process or what's from his side, but there's no way that the Rams are going to just do that, and that's where I'm amazed too with just the Rams. As cool as they're trying to play it right now, they got to be freaking out a little bit. I mean, they got to be a little. And again, that's where I think it seems like, hey, it seems crazy if they don't want Stafford. They just want Stafford more along the lines of where they deem the contract of the money to be. So that's where, when it's all said and done, I will be shocked if he's not back with the Rams. Because, again, too, let's go through our little exercise you and I are good at doing every now and then. Let's go through the teams that are out there right now that we know need a quarterback. The Jets, right? Okay, there's one. The Raiders, I don't imagine him wanting to go to the Raiders to end his career here and go, wait, let me be part of the rebuilding process of the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't imagine that. We could put the Tennessee Titans in that conversation, right? I would say the same thing there. Rebuilding project, coach on his last leg. Does he really want to be a part of that? There's the New York Giants. After that, then maybe you get into the Cleveland Browns, and I think we're kind of slim pickings after that. After that,
the Steelers? Did you mention the Steelers?
Oh, and the Steelers. Exactly right. I'm sorry. I passed by them. Yes, those are the ones that to me would make the most sense, right? I mean, I don't think I'm missing anybody else. The Steelers would be the one that you'd go. The Steelers and the Jets would be the ones, at least football roster-wise, you could make some logic about and go, wait, I could see that. There's some talent there. But again, does he want to be a part of that? Do they want to deal with him? Do they want to pay him? Would the Jets want to do something like they just did with Aaron Rodgers and have to deal with that again? I don't know.
That's the challenge. We just did the old quarterback thing.
Right.
If we do it again and it blows up in our face, if he tears an Achilles in the fourth snap of the regular season opener, we look like complete and total morons. Now, that's how a dysfunctional team would think. A properly functioning team would think it's irrelevant, it's separate. We have to make a decision at quarterback. This guy can still play. He's not Aaron Rodgers. Let's not let the scars of the Aaron Rodgers experience prevent us from making the best possible decision that we can. Gets back to the thing that Sean Payton always says, if you make a mistake, don't double down on it.
Yeah.
Just acknowledge it and move on. Right. So they made a mistake with Aaron Rodgers. Move on. That doesn't mean you should slam the door on Matthew Stafford if you're the New York Jets. Forget about Rodgers and make a good decision about what's best for your team.
Agreed.
And I think the Jets should be interested, especially if he may end up in the same freaking stadium playing for the Giants. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.